Comfort. We all want to be as comfortable as possible. If you think about it, we're comfortable when we're neither too hot nor too cold, too dry nor too wet. Generally, discomfort drives us to take action, to adjust our clothing system or seek shelter. Heat transfer is the key to discomfort. Whether we gain or lose heat through our clothing, it is the result of evaporation, conduction, and convection.
Evaporation is the process of liquid turning to gas. The harder we exercise, the more heat we produce, and the more we perspire to cool ourselves. As perspiration evaporates, it cools us down. This is called evaporative heat transfer.
For it to work, our clothing and footwear must be breathable to allow our perspiration to evaporate.
Conduction occurs when a cold object draws the warmth from another object, like when you sit on a cold ski lift, or when cold, wet clothing pulls the heat away from your body. Wet conductive heat transfer happens very fast, much faster than when clothing is dry. When our clothing gets damp from perspiration trapped inside or from rain or snow on the outside, we experience rapid heat loss. Air movement causes convective heat transfer, the effect we call wind chill. You experience convective cooling when the wind displaces your microclimate, the thin layer of warm air next to your body.
The key to staying comfortable in any situation is clothing layers that can vary according to your activity level and the weather. What you're trying to do is control the amount of heat and moisture that transfers to and from your body. Typically, there are 3 layers in a weather protective clothing system. The wicking layer is the base layer. It is worn closest to the skin. Its job is to wick moisture away. By helping to remove moisture from our skin, the wicking layer helps reduce wet conductive heat loss. The wicking layer should be breathable and non-absorbent. The most effective wicking garments are usually made from synthetic fibers, such as polyester or polypropylene.
The insulating layer traps air. Trapped air is very effective insulation. The insulating layer is typically worn over the wicking layer and is often made of synthetic fibers that retain their insulating abilities even when wet. They also wick better and dry faster than natural fibers. The weather protection layer, the outerwear, covers and protects all the other layers. If it's wet outside, this protective layer must be waterproof to keep moisture away from the layers beneath it. Outerwear must also be windproof to prevent convective heat loss. And finally, like all the layers in a clothing system, the outerwear must be breathable to allow moisture vapor to pass through. All 3 layers are important in comfort control. They can be varied according to the weather and level of activity. Now, you've been hearing me say things like waterproof and windproof and breathable. Next, we'll take a look at what those terms and others you often hear really mean. So far, there are no approved international standards for waterproofness, windproofness, or breathability. Gore has learned that for garments to be truly waterproof, windproof, and breathable, they have to pass strict testing. The way Gore sees it, waterproof fabric should be capable of withstanding water penetration during the most severe weather and in the most demanding applications.
At Gore, we believe that waterproof fabric must not leak when subjected to water entry pressures encountered in the outdoor activities for which it is made. For example, when kneeling, a person weighing 165 pounds exerts about 16 pounds per square inch, or PSI, on his knees, 3 PSI when sitting.
Laboratory tests have shown that GoreTex fabric resists penetration by water pressure of 40 PSI and more.
A waterproof garment must be constructed to prevent water entry through closures for the hood, at the wrists, and neck. Water shouldn't wick up sleeves or hems. Plus, all seams in a waterproof garment must be specially sealed.
Water-resistant garments are not waterproof. They offer some protection during light precipitation, but they will not be adequate over extended periods of time during severe wet weather conditions or higher water entry pressures.
Water repellency typically refers to a chemical coating applied to the garment's outer fabric, causing water to bead up and roll off. These coatings are often called DWR, durable water repellent, and are by themselves not an adequate method of waterproofing. However, when combined with a waterproof fabric such as GoreTex fabric, DWR plays an important role. It prevents the saturation of the exterior fabric. Eventually, even the best DWR will wear away. It can be replaced with an over-the-counter DWR product, such as the easy-to-use Revivex water and stain repellent.
If the exterior fabric of a waterproof garment becomes saturated, it cools as a result of evaporation and conductive heat loss. Then, if there is sufficient moisture from perspiration inside the garment, condensation occurs, greatly accelerating heat loss. Even though dry, the wearer feels wet and cold.
Windproof refers to air permeability, or rather, a fabric's ability or lack of ability to allow air to pass through. Windproof fabrics prevent air permeability and convective heat loss.
When cold air penetrates our clothing, it replaces the warm microclimate next to our skin. We experience convective heat loss as body heat is transferred from our skin to the air, the point at which we become cold. The fabric's air permeability is described as the volume of air in cubic feet that can pass through 1 square foot of the fabric in 1 minute, the CFM. The higher the CFM, the less windproof it is. Tests show that fabrics with air permeability from 0.0 CFM to 1.0 CFM provide the same amount of protection from heat loss and wind. For this reason, Gore defines windproof fabrics as those with an air permeability of 1.0 CFM or less.
Breathability is a fabric's ability to allow perspiration vapor to pass through. The harder we exercise, the more heat and moisture we produce. With moderate exertion, we give off about a pint of moisture vapor per hour. Heavy exertion can release a quart or more per hour. If perspiration can't evaporate, the moisture will condense somewhere inside our clothing system. Our clothing system must breathe to prevent discomfort.
Gore classifies outerwear as extremely breathable, very breathable, breathable, slightly breathable, and not breathable. These classifications are based on the fabric's resistance to moisture vapor transfer.
All Gore fabrics are extremely breathable or very breathable. The more breathable our clothing, the harder we can exercise over a broad range of temperatures and weather conditions without having to change our clothes or the intensity of our activity.
Each layer of our clothing resists moisture transport. The more layers we wear, the less breathable our clothing system.
The comfort of your clothing system doesn't just depend on how breathable the fabric is or the number of layers you wear. No matter how breathable your clothing, the level of comfort you experience is still determined by the combination of temperature and humidity.
This combination of heat and moisture produces some degree of vapor pressure. For any clothing to breathe, there must be greater moisture vapor pressure on the inside of the clothing than there is on the outside. This difference in pressures is known as the driving force.
All things being equal, the highest driving force occurs in a dry, cold climate. Hot, humid weather creates the worst conditions for breathability. You can still benefit from waterproof, breathable clothing in high humidity, but you should be aware that the driving force will be reduced and you'll feel less comfortable as a result.
Finally, even when wearing the best waterproof, breathable clothing system in the world, we still need to use common sense. Dressing on the cool side before we start an activity will give us flexibility to add layers as we need them.
Likewise, if we see a steep slope ahead, we should anticipate getting hotter as we start to climb. We can use this knowledge to either remove layers in advance or use features like pit zips for extra ventilation in our clothing.
GoreTex outerwear is durably waterproof, windproof, and breathable. Windstopper outerwear is completely windproof and very breathable. When worn with the proper layers, GoreTex outerwear and Windstopper outerwear will help you stay dry and comfortable.
Next, we'll cover Gore fabric technology. We'll find out what it's made of and why it works.
In 1976, GoreTex fabric became the first durably waterproof, windproof, breathable fabric ever made. It's made from a hydrophobic and oleophobic water and oil-hating membrane laminated to a textile. Since its inception and throughout countless technical improvements, this patented membrane technology has been impenetrable by wind and water while remaining breathable. Equally as important, the GoreTex membrane is extremely durable. All these components explain why GoreTex outerwear is backed by Gore's Satisfaction Guarantee. Gore markets to a limited number of garment manufacturers licensed to use our fabric in accordance with our strict quality standards. GoreTex fabric is used in gloves, headwear, footwear, socks, and garments. It is the most tested and most trusted, durably waterproof, windproof, breathable fabric available. The membrane contains 9 billion pores per square inch, each 20,000 times smaller than a water droplet. So water droplets can't penetrate the membrane. But the pores are large enough for moisture vapor to easily pass through. So the GoreTex membrane is both waterproof and breathable, preventing perspiration buildup inside your garment and preventing your clothing layers from becoming cold and wet. Gore has developed many specialized GoreTex fabrics for use in garments for various uses. No matter which GoreTex fabric is used, you can be sure that the seams are sealed with Gore seam tape and carry our guaranteed to keep you dry promise. GoreTex 3-layer fabric is rugged. It consists of 3 layers laminated together. The high-performance outer fabric is selected for its durability, while the liner fabric is made from a protective knit layer. Sandwiched in between is the GoreTex membrane. 3-layer garments are ideal for rugged conditions. Very versatile 2-layer GoreTex fabric consists of high-performance fabric bonded to the GoreTex membrane and a free-hanging liner fabric. It is lighter weight and softer than 3-layer GoreTex fabric. It is durably waterproof, windproof, and very breathable, and provides lightweight weather protection. 2-layer garments are extremely versatile and the right choice for moderate to high activity levels in a variety of weather conditions. GoreTex Pack Light outerwear is the lightest, most packable GoreTex fabric. It's made of a high-performance fabric that is bonded to the GoreTex Pack Light membrane. GoreTex Pack Light fabric is used to make garments that are more breathable and at least 15% lighter than typical 2-layer garments. The combination of packability and high performance make Pack Light garments the choice for traveling to all kinds of destinations. GoreTex XCR outerwear stands for Extended Comfort Range. This extremely breathable fabric is engineered to meet the demands of avid adventurers who want to maximize their activity and comfort over a broader range of conditions. It provides 25% more breathability than classic GoreTex fabric. For the most demanding activities when extreme weather protection and comfort are a must, we recommend 3-layer GoreTex XCR garments. GoreTex Immersion Technology fabric is specially engineered to stay waterproof and breathable, even underwater. GoreTex Immersion Technology outerwear is made up of both 3-layer and 5-layer fabrics consisting of a highly abrasion-resistant fabric and a strong puncture-resistant GoreTex membrane. Kayakers and fly fishermen choose immersion technology to keep them comfortable. Designed for close-range hunting, GoreTex Suppressant outerwear is the ultimate scent control fabric. It is durably waterproof, windproof, and breathable, as well as odor-absorbing. Activated carbon in GoreTex Suppressant outerwear fabric is held securely in place by a specially designed membrane, so garments retain their scent-suppressing qualities through the harshest weather year after year. Machine washing and drying won't diminish this outerwear's odor-controlling capacity. GoreTex footwear is a staple for anyone who's serious about hiking, hunting, mountain sports, and related outdoor activities. During a day of high activity, an average foot can produce almost a cup of sweat. Wet feet can become cold quickly, especially in colder weather. GoreTex footwear is built for comfort and durability. It is made with the same waterproof, breathable barrier that's used in GoreTex outerwear. All GoreTex boots are sealed with Gore seam tape, and every GoreTex bootie is tested for complete waterproofness before it is used to make GoreTex footwear. Every single one. GoreTex Suppressant footwear is waterproof and breathable and especially engineered for close-range hunters. Using a selectively permeable membrane, it reduces the transmission of human odor molecules to virtually undetectable levels to give hunters an extra advantage against their prey. GoreTex fabric is also used to make gloves, hats, and oversocks. GoreTex hats are ideal for the golf course, on the job, or on the side of a mountain. They allow water to roll right off, keeping the head warm and dry. GoreTex gloves are a must for anyone who will be outside in the snow and ice for an extended period of time. Our GoreTex soft glove inserts are designed for close-fitting gloves, offering greater flexibility and dexterity. GoreTex oversocks are waterproof, breathable socks that are worn over a regular sock. They prevent water that may seep in through a shoe or boot from reaching your feet. If GoreTex shoes or boots are not required, we definitely recommend GoreTex oversocks. Well, we've covered just about all the GoreTex fabric technologies, uses, and care. But that's only half the Gore fabric story. Next, we'll learn about how Windstopper fabric works and keeps you comfortable in all kinds of end uses. Windstopper fabric is completely windproof, highly breathable, and offers excellent water resistance. Windstopper outerwear and accessories provide maximum warmth with fewer layers and less bulk. Windstopper garments are made from highly breathable fabrics, such as knit or fleece, that are laminated to the Windstopper membrane. The primary objective of Windstopper fabric is to prevent convective heat transfer. Windstopper outerwear and accessories are available in popular textiles like fleece and pile, durable shell fabrics, and in natural fibers like wool. We experience convective cooling when the wind blows through our layering system. This wind chill displaces the heat away from our bodies.
Windstopper fabric maintains body heat by safeguarding us from the wind chill effect.
In addition to wind protection, Windstopper garments are highly breathable. Gore's unique technology enables them to completely block the wind while allowing your perspiration vapors to escape. Windstopper two-layer fabric liners provide warmth and breathability, whether they're sewn into sweaters, pants, or casual wear. The Windstopper membrane can be bonded to a variety of knitted apparel, including hats and gloves. Best of all, two-layer liner laminates are soft to your skin. They're also lightweight and great for packing. Windstopper two-layer fabric shells are lightweight wind shells, perfect for highly aerobic activities. To ensure comfort even in light precipitation, these shells are treated with high-performance DWR. These lightweight fabric shells prevent wind penetration and resist heat loss so you can stay active longer. Three-layer Windstopper fleece consists of an ultralight Windstopper membrane fitted neatly between two textile layers. The liner fabric is the insulating layer, while the outer layer is a high-performance fabric. Some fleece products are enhanced with DWR, and some stretch to allow greater freedom of movement. Breathable Windstopper fleece jackets, gloves, and headwear are up to 2.5 times warmer in a 33-mile-per-hour wind than other fleece products on the market. Windstopper fleece garments can also be worn under a GoreTex jacket for the ultimate in water and wind protection. Windstopper N2S fabrics are unique because they maintain a very effective microclimate close to the skin. Windstopper N2S fabric offers the moisture wicking and comfort of a base layer with the breathability and wind protection of a Windstopper shell. You pack less, carry less, and virtually eliminate the need to change garments midway through your activity. With Windstopper N2S, moisture vapor is removed from your skin and it doesn't come back. Windstopper N2S garments can also be worn as the first layer in your layering system. They're perfect under your Windstopper fleece or even your GoreTex outerwear in more severe conditions. The Windstopper membrane in wool and wool blends provides warmth and breathability in sweaters, pants, and casual wear. You'll get the natural warmth and durability of wool with windproof protection. Windstopper suppressant fabric is specifically designed for scent control and silence. The activated carbons in Windstopper suppressant fabric absorb chemicals that contribute to human scent, while the Windstopper membrane protects wearers with durable windproofness and breathability. The scent-controlling activated carbon is actually trapped in the web-like structure of the membrane, securing it in place, making it impossible to wash out during laundering or wear away. Plus, Windstopper suppressant fabric is soft and quiet.
Wow, we've covered a lot of territory, and you've heard all the promises Gore makes about product performance. Next, we'll learn how and why Gore can make those promises when we cover product testing and care. Guaranteed to keep you dry. That's quite a promise. Gore is the only fabric manufacturer that can make that claim. Why? Because only licensed manufacturers and certified factories can make GoreTex garments and footwear. Plus, Gore pre-qualifies every new GoreTex garment and footwear design. So when you buy something made with GoreTex fabric, you're getting more than a piece of clothing. You're getting peace of mind. You're getting Gore's promise, guaranteed to keep you dry.
Gore does extensive testing to ensure the waterproof, windproof, breathable properties of its products in the toughest field tests in the wettest and most rugged parts of the world. And it's only through these field tests that we can truly understand how Gore products perform.
Through laboratory tests that emulate accelerated field tests, we continually check the performance of fabrics as they are manufactured to ensure they meet high consumer expectations. This test is called the rain chamber test. Every single GoreTex garment prototype is exposed to intense, realistic rain conditions to predict how it will perform in real use. For certain garments, Gore also performs an extreme wet weather test that simulates heavy vertical and wind-driven rain. Garments must pass the rain chamber test to carry the guaranteed to keep you dry promise.
The MVTR test measures moisture vapor transmission through samples of all footwear and garment components. A tank of heated water generates moisture vapor. Any moisture that passes through the sample is absorbed into a salt solution inside these cups. By weighing the cup of salt before and after the test, Gore can calculate the rate of moisture vapor transfer and figure out the level of breathability.
Fabrics and other materials resist or limit the movement of moisture vapor. RET, or the resistance to evaporation through a textile, is a measure of how much a textile resists moisture vapor transfer. The lower the resistance to moisture vapor transfer, the greater the breathability.
Gore's laboratory and field testing on its own fabrics, as well as on many other coatings and laminates that claim waterproof, breathable characteristics, has shown that two tests, wet flexing and cold flexing, best predict how long a fabric will remain waterproof. In the wet flex and cold flex tests, fabrics are flexed under a variety of wet and cold conditions to mimic the long-term effects of use in high wear areas like elbows and knees. After flexing, the fabrics are tested at controlled water entry pressures to check for waterproofness. Abrasion, puncture, and tear tests mimic things that can happen to clothing in real life and ensure that GoreTex fabric is appropriately engineered for the intended end use.
The centrifugal tester checks for waterproofness of footwear. Boots are filled with water and placed on the tester. A leak is indicated if water escapes due to pressures created from the centrifugal force.
The whole boot breathability test measures the amount of sweat that can escape through a boot.
These mechanical feet flex new footwear styles up to 300,000 times in water. The sensors on the feet can detect very small leaks. The last leg of our journey is by far the easiest. We're going to talk about product care. The care and maintenance of GoreTex garments is the key to extending their life.
Be sure to choose the appropriate outerwear design for a particular outdoor activity. If a tear or puncture should occur, you can call for repair assistance by dialing 1-800-431-GORE. There are care centers conveniently located all over the U.S., Canada, and Europe. These centers and their phone numbers are listed on all GoreTex hang tags.
Daily care of GoreTex outerwear is very easy. Read the care instructions on the label of your GoreTex outerwear. It's perfectly okay to wash and dry GoreTex outerwear as often as needed. Dirt, oils, soot, and abrasions can mask and greatly reduce the effectiveness of the DWR finish. Keeping the garment clean and tumble drying or ironing it from time to time helps to bring the DWR back to life. You can use a pre-wash stain treatment to remove stains before tossing the garment into the washer.
GoreTex garments can be dry cleaned if the care label permits. Over time, the water repellency, the beating up of water on the outside fabric, of a GoreTex garment will diminish. This is a natural occurrence, but it should not be ignored. The beating of water prevents what we call wet out, or the saturation of a garment's outer fabric. It can be restored with Revivex water and stain repellent.
GoreTex accessories such as hats, gloves, and oversocks can be cared for in much the same way as GoreTex garments. Hats and oversocks can be hand or machine washed and tumble dried. Gloves can be hand or machine washed and the water squeezed out from the fingertips to the wrists and then drip dried with the fingers up to drain. Windstopper fabrics don't lose any of their windproofness even after going through 100 wash and dry cycles. That's because the windproof capabilities of Windstopper fabric are the result of the windproof membrane inside the garment, not chemical substances that are applied to the garment's outer surface.
Some Windstopper garments are treated with high-performance DWR, durable water repellent. This DWR finish requires tumble drying or ironing to maintain performance. Eventually, the DWR will begin to wear out. It can be restored with Revivex.
Caring for Windstopper suppressant is just as easy as caring for any other Windstopper product. Simply wash and dry the garment according to the manufacturer's recommendations. You can't wash the scent control or windproofness away, and drying the garment will actually rejuvenate the scent-absorbing power of the activated carbon. Now let's take a moment to recap how far we've come. You've learned that bonding the GoreTex and Windstopper membranes to high-performance textiles creates GoreTex and Windstopper laminated fabric, and that the laminated fabrics are then sold to licensed garment manufacturers. You've seen GoreTex and Windstopper outerwear and accessories, how they work to keep you comfortable, what they're for, how they're made, how they're tested, and how to take care of them. Now you know that just about anyone who wants to stay dry and comfortable outdoors, even if the weather gets cold or wet, can count on GoreTex and Windstopper outerwear to keep them dry and comfortable. Thanks for taking the time to learn about GoreTex and Windstopper products.